Ey, das ist genauso wie damals, Mann. Immer noch derselbe Shit, aber ich gedacht, ich werd vernünftig, wenn ich erstmal älter bin.
Welcome back. I'm Emma Way.
And I'm Megan Meharry.
Megan, do you ever feel like you don't get enough sleep during the school year?
Yes, always.
Well, I've recently been using the new company Sleep Drops. These sleep drops are super simple to use. Just 1 to 2 drops in your mouth and they're 100% vegan. They've been tested to reduce stress and gently calm your nervous system. I highly recommend this product for anyone who's not getting enough sleep at night. Use code SLEEP to get 20% off your first purchase.
Wow, thanks, Emma. Now I'll be able to get all the sleep I need.
This week, we sat down with freshman goalkeeper Hedda Bierman Rapchin from the women's field hockey team, who has seen quite a bit of action in her first season. Hedda, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Great. We have a plethora of questions for you. First one being, how old were you when you started playing, and have you always wanted to be a goalie?
So I started playing the end of 3rd grade, so I think that would be like 8 years old at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I started playing because we had like, it was part of our sports like gym class in school, and one of the coaches from the nearby club came to school, because in Germany the like sport doesn't go through the school, it's a club system, and she would play with like some of the elementary kids that chose this program, and I was really bad at playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started like jumping for the ball or like using my feet to like make a save, because I couldn't figure out how to use the stick properly. So she, instead of like yelling at me, was like, hey, do you want to maybe like come try out as our goalkeeper, because we really need one.
Yeah.
And so I came and like had a few practices at the club system, and I really enjoyed it. So I've always been a goalie, because that's kind of like what the coach had in mind when she like recruited me, you could say. But like,
right. And for those of you who don't know, Hedda was saying that she was using her feet in regular practice, and that is actually illegal in field hockey. You cannot use your feet.
yeah, I used to play soccer, so the idea of not using my feet kind of like went against everything I had learned so far, and my coach was like, just use it. So
That's hilarious.
So was it a hard habit to break then, not being able to use your feet anymore?
I mean, I kind of worked my way around it, I'd say. I also like was way more determined to stop the ball from going in the like goal that wasn't an actual goal. It was just 2 cones, but like everybody I took it way more serious than anybody else, and I really didn't want that ball to go through, so I just started using everything I could. And my coach, I guess, found that like fitting for the position she was looking for.
Okay, so we're going to get into the recruiting process for you. Talk us through your recruiting process as an international student and athlete, and what was that like for you?
Yeah, so the actual idea came kind of random through a Facebook message of a friend of a friend of a friend who went through the recruiting process and played all for 4 years of college hockey, and was actually from Germany too. And she asked me if I was interested in something like that, and I started thinking about it and like talking about it with my parents, who were not fans of the idea of me moving to another country as soon as I graduated high school.
Yeah.
But I convinced them, and I started looking into different agencies to help me make a profile. And after filming a pretty terrible tournament for my team, but pretty good tournament for me, and a few practices, I had enough footage to do my video, and I uploaded it to my profile that the agency helped make me, and I got a response. So.
And these agencies, I've actually never heard of them before.
Yeah.
So is it just field hockey, or do they do a bunch of
No, they
athletes?
do a lot, and it depends on, the agency I worked with is just in Germany, and for them their biggest focus would be soccer, just because it's like a huge sport in Germany, but not so much in the United States. So we have like a lot of really talented soccer players in Germany that could never make a living with playing soccer, just because there's such like quantity in Germany.
Right.
So they want to play at a high level and like work together with their like studying schedule, which is just more convenient in the United States, and like still a very high level. So that's probably their focus, but I'd say pretty closely after that comes field hockey, because it's like one of the biggest sports for girls.
Right.
And since field hockey is more like a women's sport in the United States, that's also a bigger focus that is growing for those agencies.
Great.
So how did you end up choosing Quinnipiac?
For me, a big part of the decision was like the coaches I got to meet and the different players. And it was on the one hand just there, so I talked to Nina Klein.
Mm-hmm. Nina Klein is the associate head coach of the program.
And also the goalkeeping coach, so I felt like I had someone who was actually interested in me as a player and in my skill set, apart from any other like personal, I don't know, me being a personal fit to the program, which of course was important to me too, but it was really enjoyable to have a person on the other end that knows what she's talking about and who I felt like I could learn a lot from. So I wouldn't only be committing to a program because of academic growth or, I don't know, just coming to the US. I was convinced that I would actually like grow from this program over the long term.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a huge deal for me, just the feeling and like the information I gathered every time I talked to Coach Klein or like other coaches like Becca or even players. So
Yeah, it's actually really rare to find a goalie coach in Division I programs, which is, you would think it would be weird, but it's pretty rare just because like budgeting, people don't think it's really like that useful of a coach versus a field player coach. So yeah, it's good.
And I've always really enjoyed, like I haven't had a goalkeeping coach for all of my career, but I do see that the goalkeeping coaches I've had, which is specifically like probably one person, that this person has made a huge impact on everything I know about the sport and like my own skill set, and has taught me a lot about it. So I was very excited to continue to have the ability to continue to work with an actual like goalkeeping coach in combination with other coaches.
How common is it for people from Germany who play field hockey to come over and play in the U.S.?
I guess it depends on where in Germany you play. Like Hamburg, where I'm from, it's like the concentration of field hockey there is probably like the highest from like German standard, just because there's like there are like a lot of different clubs. There are also like very, very good clubs all over Germany, but the concentration of them is the highest in Hamburg. So actually 2 of the players from my youth team, who are just a year older than me, play in America right now too. And then from the adult team, I know of 3 other people who actually went to America and graduated already and then came back.
Oh wow.
And then on top of that, you hear of other people like occasionally also going through the program in the US. So I'd say maybe in my surroundings it's getting more and more like common, or at least an idea.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think for those people that don't know, pretty much every Division I team has about 4 to 9 international players, ranging from Europe or South America, even Australia sometimes. So that's just like a little fun fact.
What would you say is the biggest difference between playing here and then playing back in Germany?
In Germany, field hockey is considered an amateur sport, no matter if it's women's or men's field hockey. So no matter how like good you play, how well you play, you'll not make a living with this sport. Okay. It's just because you're passionate about it, or I don't know, just the love of the sport makes you do it. There's no other benefit for you. So that's probably one thing, whereas here you can, like, the sport is so connected, like every sport is so connected to like college life and education and like working yourself to get opportunities, So on the one hand, one difference is in Germany, nobody in your like school, workplace, or university will care that you play a sport at such a high level, which it is. If it's still considered amateur sport. Some of them will have like some of the companies will like respect athletes for the qualities they often bring with, like maybe having good work ethic or discipline, but the sport themselves, like they don't care about that. Whereas here, the sport is a huge part of the college life, and it's getting worked into your schedule by other people who really do care about you being able to have the schedule and like help you make it work, which is something that you kind of have to figure out very early on your own in Germany. So I'd say maybe that's the biggest difference for me that I've been experiencing.
Was it a hard adjustment to make coming over here and playing a little bit differently?
Yeah. I guess it's not as hard of an adjustment if you're used to having to figure it out yourself versus people helping you figure it out. I feel like the biggest difference or adjustment you have to make, it's not anymore because you want to do it. It's because you're part of like a program now that is directly connected to your academic life. And on the one hand, it might add some pressure, but on the other hand, it's just like more motivation you have, because it's like it's not about how you feel that day anymore. Like you have to do it, and although it might sound like less fun, but if you can view your sport as kind of part of your job, I feel like you learn to grow more from it maybe. So
yeah, I sort of feel like it's just not even an option, obviously being a student athlete. It's like you've signed away your rights basically to just show up every day, and you have to show up unless
it
you
is
really
kind
quit.
of like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like both I guess systems have their benefits. Like when I think about home, like if you show up to practice, it's because you want to. Like yes, there is some obligation you might or you should feel like towards your team, because at the end of the day, it's a team sport. Like if you don't feel like going to practice that day, you are going to impact others, and I feel like that's a really good thing to learn early on, that I feel like has benefited me in many ways and benefited people I know personally. But it also means that if the people that do show up to practice, they have that in mind, that I'm here because I want to. Like if I don't want to, I can just leave. Like, that is something to keep in mind, I guess. On the one hand, it might sound like an easy out, but it's also like a constant reminder that everything you do because you chose it. Like it's not because anybody's telling you to, which has always really motivated me, because it sounds like it's easier, but when I remember all the times that it's like been hard for me in this sport, and I've just reminded myself that I did choose this, and there is a reason for me past everything that might speak against it right now, that I'm still here and I'm still doing this. It just motivates you more, I feel like.
How do you think being here has benefited you academically? I don't know, like, what the major difference would be if you studied in Germany versus here. What do you think would be the major difference?
For me, the biggest difference or, like, advantage I felt like is in Germany, after you graduate high school and you choose to study something, you're kind of setting yourself, like, on a very specific topic. Whereas here, even... Of course, like, you have all these subjects that have nothing to do with your major that you still have to do, which I'm kind of, like, split-minded about that part. But I feel like even within the major, there's a lot of different stuff. Like, I'm a BNS major, so behavioral neuroscience, so I have a combination of a lot of biology and psychology, basically, which a major like that, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't exist in Germany. The closest would probably be study medicine and then go into psychiatric, like,
psychiatrist,
work environment, which I don't know. I guess after I graduated high school, which was only 6 months ago, so I don't know why I'm talking about it like that, but I felt like I wasn't sure enough to set myself for a very specific type of studying in Germany, but I also felt like this program that I'm doing right now is a perfect fit for me because it covers a little bit of everything I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I feel like I get to start studying what I'm passionate and about and interested in, but I also get to leave myself some options about the work environment I want to end up in.
This is a fun one, kind of. Depends how you take it. What was the biggest culture shock when you came to the U.S.?
On a very positive side, I guess just people coming up and talking to you, which I don't know if there's like, that's a real stigma around German people that they're like rude or like don't want to. Of course, there are rude people. Like,
Yeah, everyone,
hella rude
for sure.
people. But like, apart from being rude or not, I feel like it's just less common to talk to people you like don't know at all. Like, not even. I'd say when I'm in Germany, I don't want to be rude, but like I don't make an effort to talk to people I don't know. Whereas here, I don't know, the most positive experience would have been like when we were on a plane just this weekend actually.
Mm-hmm.
I sat next to a person, and when you're wearing all this like clothing from a specific place, everybody just comes up to me and asks, oh, what sport do you play?
Right.
Oh, where are you going? Good luck with your game. Like,
Yeah.
I've traveled with my team in full-on, like, tracksuits with bags and everything, and people just look at us and, like, oh, I hope that person's not in my, like, part of the plane right now. Like, they look so loud.
Yeah.
Whereas here, everybody just comes up to you and wants to, like, know a bit about what you're doing. So I feel like that's probably one of the nicest things I've like discovered here so far, that everybody's like just so genuinely at least a little bit interested in what you're doing today,
Yeah.
especially if you're an athlete. I feel like people
for
like
sure.
like you here a lot more, even at
Yeah.
customs in like New York.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I came for my official visit with my dad, his like English, he understands English very well, but he struggles a little bit to speak because he tries to make it way too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And the customs, so I was talking to the customs officer, and he asked me a word about, like, he asked me a question, and there was a word I didn't know, so I asked him, excuse me, what? And he just repeated the question, and I had no idea what to tell him.
Do you remember what the question was?
No, because I didn't know the word, and I think I just went into like shock because I don't know. I was just so. I've never been to the States before,
Right?
And your customs is crazy. Like in Europe, you can travel with your driver's license around. Like it's not even your driver's license, and you can like go all over Europe, and you're like, you like really get asked everything, and then he rephrased his question and was just, okay, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm visiting this university, and like started to talk, and then I mentioned something about like athlete, and he's like, oh, you're an athlete, what sport? And I was like, field hockey. He's like, never heard of that, but have fun at your university.
Oh my gosh.
Just, he didn't even know this sport, but just saying that I'm looking at a program here, he knew that I wasn't an American, like
Right.
he knew I wasn't international, but just the fact that I came here to be an athlete and play in the United States, like, just made him so happy that he started questioning me about things he didn't know.
Yeah.
Nah, everybody like in America loves sports.
Yeah.
It's really, really something.
And, like different sports in Germany, maybe the soccer players get like an out, but like apart from that, they don't really care.
What has been your favorite part about being a part of the team here at Quinnipiac?
Like, I didn't expect to become part of the team so quickly. Like, I can get really shy and really nervous if I'm in a room with a lot of people I don't know. So, like, being thrown late into a team in a preseason without knowing anybody, I thought that everybody was just gonna be, I don't know, mad at me, or like asking why is this girl here and why is she late on top of it, like but that wasn't the case at all. I just remember one of my former freshmen picking me up in the middle of the night, I just came from New York. I just landed, and I was wandering in the dark across campus, and she came pick me up limping because she just like broke her foot or something during practice, and she was so happy. She gave me a hug. Didn't care at all that she had to be up at this time for me. She just was happy to like see me and meet me, and I thought that was so nice.
Yeah. Well, Hedda, thank you so much for talking with us today. Be sure to catch Hedda and the rest of the field hockey team in their last game of the season on November 1st at 3 p.m. against the Temple Owls.
Immer noch derselbe Shit, aber ich gedacht, ich werd vernünftig, wenn ich erstmal älter bin. Ich sag mal so, ich sag mal ja, ist wie ist. Wer mein Leben wie ein Ponyhof, dann